Bitcoin making a move right now around 5% away from breaking all-time high. I think what's most compelling and exciting on the Bitcoin charts is something like the monthly. More data showing that right now we are just at the beginning, entering this bull market with a ton of ways to go. This circle over here, end of 2025. I want to break down some more data. ADA on the zoomed out weekly. I know everybody, all the ADA holders are waiting. ADA has not even gotten started. And from historical context, as we study things like Bitcoin cycles and crypto cycles, there is so much in store for ADA on this Cardano chart. I'm going to break it down in this video. Hit the subscribe, hit the like. Let's jump into the video. Before I even dive into charts, I want to go over just a couple of things that they're happening right now. These are just some headlines. Check this out. Hong Kong Bitcoin ETF saw 32 million in inflows yesterday. China is getting prepared. iShares Bitcoin ETF officially crosses 20 billion in assets. Fastest ETF to hit this mark, and it's not even close. Less than 5 months. Bitcoin breaking records when it comes to ETFs. Thailand SEC approves the first spot Bitcoin ETF. These headlines, everybody. And as we pivot to charts, here's Bob Lucas over here on X posted something interesting. The Bitcoin 4-year cycle is on month 19. Prior cycles topped out at 35 months. So past the midpoint of rising portion. Really can't express enough just how bullish this setup is here. And I echo that sentiment. With reaccumulation occurring, building foundation from where the next major expansion begins. Let's go and look at this. So actually, the data he's talking about, by the way, is this. If we're looking at his cycle, he's basically, if we take the 2018 bear market low, that's the beginning of the cycle. It's the end of the bear market. And he's saying until the bull market high, you can see right there was 35 months, right? So he took the most recent bear market low, this cycle, and we're like 19 months in. If we extend this out, I want to get this data right out there. If we extend this out to be 35 months, we're looking at October 2025 for the potential of the bull market top. What's happened here this cycle is Bitcoin and crypto has made kind of a different move than previous cycles, especially Bitcoin. If we look at this Bitcoin chart, this all-time high territory right around Bitcoin halving. And prior, it hasn't happened until months after Bitcoin halving, right? This is last cycle. Here's the cycle before that. It's happening sooner this cycle. That's why the chart is looking a little different. That's why I think a lot of people they have high expectations when it comes to things like altcoins. And we're going to look at Cardano in just a minute. And that is a very good example of all altcoins, those charts. But what's happening right now is Bitcoin is in this power position, especially if you look at something like the weekly and you kind of just zoom out a little bit. This consolidation going into halving is just a launch pad for the continuation of this bull market, right? Bob Lucas over here saying we're on month 19. This could last 35 months. This consolidation that just took place is key for what's going to happen next. And now what's really cool about all of this timeline of October 2025, and that might not be exact, right? But what's really cool about it is, if you remember, I've been, for the last week or so, been just talking about this new data point. It's the 20-week crossing the 50-week, 20-week crossing the 50-week to end the bear market. And historically, every cycle, the length of time from that cross to the top of the bull market high for Bitcoin, every time has gotten longer. So 500 some days, 700 some days, 800 some days last cycle from the 20-week moving average to the top of the bull market. Now, if we're looking at this, here's the 20-week moving average. If this extends again and gets longer, maybe into the 900 days, where are we ending up? 924 days, October 2025. That aligns with Bitcoin cycles and what Bob Lucas over here is referring to. So there are so many data points that they keep coming together. We just are covering all of these new data points. What's really cool about this, when I zoom out and I look at this chart that I charted this back in 2018, speculatively. There's the bottom of the 2018 bear market. Through these cycles, I speculated the move and flow of Bitcoin, and it has been very on point. That $90,000 range, Bitcoin obviously didn't hit in the last cycle, but right in that yellow circle in the $60,000 to $70,000 range, Bitcoin hit that, right? And retrace into the bear market, which we all were a part of, this bear market right here. We've bounced up, and check out where I have this next yellow all-time high area. This is June 2025. So if we extend this over to October 2025, you can see a top right in this area. Now, I don't know exactly what the price would be on the top for Bitcoin. That's for another video. But you can just see, everybody, these cycles are coming together so well. And Bitcoin right now, with the adoption worldwide that we just looked at the beginning of the video, it's just so primed. There's such a demand for Bitcoin and for crypto and for this space like never before. This is the first cycle that we're getting this type of mass. Truly, we talk about mass adoption for, the entire length of time I've been in crypto. It's always adoption. This is the first time I'm seeing it. It's actually playing out, right? Just look at these headlines. Thailand approves first spot Bitcoin ETFs. The Bitcoin spot ETF in this for iShares breaking records. This is incredible. And from a cycle perspective, we are just getting started. So if we look at ADA right now, this is a really big reason. Everything I just talked about with Bitcoin, if you hit the timestamps and you came right to Cardano, go look at what I just talked about for Bitcoin, because this is incredibly important when looking at altcoin charts. Cardano is not the only one that people are frustrated with, but the setup that Bitcoin has right now for the remainder of this bull market is historically almost exactly what it's done for altcoins in prior cycles. Where ADA is right now in this chart is so similar to this time frame back here. What's really cool and compelling about this on the ADA charts, we start looking at different indicators. I want to just first look at the RSI, slower moving momentum oscillator. So if we're comparing these time frames, right, we're saying this consolidation back here, very similar to ADA now. It really is, even from a cycle perspective. Look at the RSI at that moment. It was kind of coming out of the bear market, got overbought, and it retraced. Now, what's happening? It came out of the bear market, overbought, and it's retraced. The RSI almost in an identical position to last cycle at this time. The consolidation, this sideways above the 50-week moving average in blue right there, so similar to back here. Not as much space. You can see a lot of space back there. We don't have as much space. ADA is truly testing that 50-week moving average. It's something to watch. It can make you a little nervous if you're really watching how close ADA has consolidated at the 50. But needless to say, the consolidations on these RSIs are so similar. And then we look at something like the stock RSI. The stock RSI, quicker moving momentum oscillator, so similar in terms of what ADA is getting ready to do. What happened? It finally exited oversold on this quicker moving momentum oscillator, and this was the end of it for ADA. That ADA was ready to go. Look what's happening. We're getting this shift at this exact similar area. If ADA explodes out of oversold, ADA is getting ready from a price perspective to kind of go crazy. And then if we look at the RSI, or I'm sorry, not the RSI, the MACD, check out this MACD. Here is this consolidation last cycle at the very similar moment. And here it is this cycle, falling red on the MACD. Right now, getting a little bit of a pivot on this histogram. You can see the red going to a lighter red, approaching the upward momentum towards zero on the histogram. It's awesome to see the MACD has consolidated. This MACD, this blue MACD line, has consolidated so much in the process right now on the weekly of making a pivot. So what we have in store still for ADA, which is incredibly bullish for upward momentum, is an entire pivot on this weekly MACD to go higher into 2024, 2025 for a crazy bull run for ADA. With everything going on with Voltaire and this new era of decentralization for Cardano and scalability, it is so primed to do what it did last cycle. And there's no guarantees that it will, everybody. But this is just a very clean perspective of why Cardano is looking fine right now. And other altcoins too that haven't been, performing to the level that many people would like it to be performing. It's patience. where we are in the cycle is incredibly similar to last cycle at this time, if not a little better. Cardano making a little move, approaching key moving average area. A strong break above could be the catalyst for ADA move back to $1 and beyond. I posted the charts, posting these moving averages on the daily. I'm going to go look at them on the chart, and I put a speculative move on the daily back to $1. Let's go look at it. So this is what the speculative move looks like. We'll talk about it in just a moment. But what's happening in the area that I posted about yesterday was what's still happening. You can see that wick on the daily chart yesterday to that moving average resistance, the 50-day, the 20-day. The range for ADA, if we want to talk short term, it is the 20-day at 46.5 cents. It's crazy. The 50-day at 4.63. I mean, it's a nothing move for ADA if it's going to break out. To the 50-day, it's 0.5%. To the 20-day, it's not even 1%. It's 0.9%. That could happen in a minute. And whether or not ADA does it, this is a short-term thing I'm watching to see an ADA breakout. It seems like ADA breaks out a lot in the evening, at nighttime. Maybe this will happen tonight. But I'll be very curious to see not only how this daily candle closes, if the daily candle can close above these moving averages, would be phenomenal for ADA. But what does the next ADA candle do? Can we get separation from these moving averages? Now, talking about the speculation of ADA back to $1, it's very simple. From a daily chart, right, this move back here, when ADA was consolidating kind of for a while in October and then finally broke out, it is very similar to the ADA move that's occurring right now. The MACD trending upwards, you can see right there. Even the RSI higher lows on the RSI as it's kind of consolidating. RSI right now, higher lows as it's consolidating. Look at ADA grappling with the moving averages and then bam. Right now, ADA grappling with the moving averages and then bam, that's the speculation. We take our bars pattern and we look at this. A similar move, obviously not exact, would be something like this. We extend this over and we just see ADA making the move into its bull market. And there could be a lot of resistance. The apex of this trend line, this rising wedge that ADA kind of broke to the downside of, the pullback to that area could be resistance breaking down, and then we're entering the parabolic move maybe for Cardano towards the end of this year. Maybe it's early 2025. I'm not sure, but you can see how this chart is playing out, right? Again, with Bitcoin, with Cardano, no guarantees that this bull run is going to play out this way. But when I look at cycle after cycle after cycle, a repetitive consistency of this data, while there are no guarantees, it could all go to zero. I accept that all the time. The data is saying what it is saying, right? And so if I'm a macro long-term investor, like I want to be a part of that. And as a macro person and a content creator, a macro content creator, I'm tracking that, right? So this speculation, now that we are in more of a bull environment, I can't help but speculate the upside potential here on Cardano, on Bitcoin, on all of these other altcoins. So this is what I'm watching, everybody. I wanted to share it with you. This is my perspective. It's all it is. I could just be wrong about my speculations and what I think is going to happen next. I could have been wrong back here when I speculated this chart. But one thing that I do know is, while I didn't hit the exact numbers, that path and flow of cycles played out. If we look at this chart from 2018, played out almost perfectly. And so we're on that same trajectory, and I'm just tracking the journey, everybody. That's all this is. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please hit the subscribe if you're not a subscriber. I appreciate you cruising through. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.